Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 12-inch Figure Fanatic. So I just did a video recently of the DID Roger Moore figure, and I was disappointed enough with it that I went right online and after my review, and I ordered this one. This is the Live and Let Die James Bond from Big Chief Studios. Now, apparently the other one that I did the review on has the official license to use the Roger Moore likeness and name, and this one doesn't, but I think this one is licensed with the 007 label, and that kind of supersedes Roger Moore himself. So I guess the other one is Roger Moore gave his thumbs up, this one, the 007 brand gave its thumbs up, and I'm going to see if this one is better than the other figure. We're going to do side by side because there was a little bit lacking in the other one. And you go ahead and watch that video, you'll understand what I mean. But let's check this one out. All right, so like I said, this figure is hopefully going to redeem my pocketbook from paying for the last one, and I'm going to list the other one probably on eBay and resell it just because of how disappointed I was. So this one has a slip, which looks like it doubles as the background for the figure itself. It's a jungle scene. Now I will say it's a little faded. It looks pretty bold in the production photos, but I'm getting this now, and the picture, you could tell it's a still from the actual set from the film. So, you know, kudos for that, but as a result, because of the quality of the video back then, I think they could have adjusted the imagery a little bit to make it bolder. All right. So this is deja vu. I mean, it's at first glance, it's almost just like the other one. So I'm looking at the figure here, and right off the bat, I could tell that the quality of this holster is better than the other one, although the stitching is different in the production photos. One of the things that turned me on about this figure when I was looking at it in the photos and comparing it to the one I already have is that there was some stitching around the edges here. So I'm going to have to probably do that myself. I think they cut the corner in the final production. So on the other figure, this one is elastic, just black elastic, and this one is an olive green. The hands are very, very pliable. It doesn't have the hardness of the usual hands that come with figures. And I don't know if that's the dexterity is on purpose so that they can work with some objects. It's not posable, so it's not like it stays in place when you bend it. One thing that's not as obvious on this one that looked more apparent in the production photos is that they were slightly bell-bottomed, reminiscent of that era when it was filmed. And you can't quite tell here, so you probably have to adjust probably re-iron it a little bit, and probably clip it in the back a little bit so that it accentuates the flare at the bottom. But it is flared. It is flared, just like the movie character. Peg leg on this, I would have preferred socks. I hate when they do this. They cut corners and they just have a peg directly to the shoe sculpt, and that could use a stocking, whether or not you intend on revealing it. But it looks like there is kind of a stocking slip. So I guess that'll pass. I mean, I would have preferred a sock, but a slip that goes over the peg is good enough. And the bottoms, I mean, I like it when they put some weathering on the bottom, but that's fine. You could always do that yourself. The head sculpt now, the creme de resistance. I will say something's lacking here. It almost looks like a combination of maybe it looking too young and maybe the eyes looking either too beady or slightly slanted. And we'll do a side-by-side with the other figure. You'll see what I mean. I think the other figure has an edge on the head sculpt. The hair, though, is a little bit lacking. They kind of cut corners on not only the sculpt, but also the paint job. And then there's this sort of line here from the separate piece of hair. So there's this whole front segment here looks like it's glued on to give him his bangs, but they did a bad job at putting that together. I might have to fill that in with some putty, some self-hardening putty, and repaint that if I were to keep this, but we'll see. I'm on the fence. Let's see what else it comes with. All right, so I mentioned in my other review that this is supposed to be silver. In the other figure, it was black. So, however, in the other figure, it was metal, and this one is plastic. Not only that, well, this does rotate. Okay, so it doesn't look like it comes out, but it rotates, which doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't mean much if it rotates if you can't slide it out. So, looks like the trigger comes back. So okay, I mean it's pretty basic. It satisfies the intent. We got a snake. That's good. I might put that actually with my Indiana Jones display. I forgot what that is. Some kind of like push button trigger of some kind. And then we've got this mine. Is it a mine? Yeah, or a timed explosive. And then it's got this little thing right here. So, I mean, I don't know who would display their figure with this. I mean, it's okay to have. I'm probably gonna box it away and not even show it. Now, what are these two things? So I can't quite tell. Okay. So those are actually rounds, it looks like. Okay. You got several pairs of hands. Lots to choose from. More than enough. All right. We got a machete made out of metal. Bonus points. Very good job. And can't tell if I think the handle is actually plastic, but they did a good enough job to make it seem like wood. Yeah, and I think it is plastic. But the blade being metal it always goes far with me. I like that. The fact that some producers of figures still have the plastic painted silver is just kind of, to me, cutting corners. And we got the stand. Now, just like I have the Sean Connery James Bond from Big Chief Studios, and you could check out my video on that one. But just like that one, you have this beautiful stand that is battery operated. Either three AA's or three AAA's. I think it's three AAA's, and it's got the switch right here. And of course, I think a company out of Korea sells some pretty nice kits so that you can wire the battery compartment, plug it into a line through your shelf, and then kind of you could set it up so that you can flip one switch and have all your items light up, including Iron Man and all that kind of stuff. So I've seen some people do that, and I just haven't gotten around to it. That's very involved and a little expensive to me. But the reason it it has batteries is because this lights up. You can see the LEDs in there. When you put this in there, it makes the whole front panel illuminate, which is just gorgeous. I really like that. So many companies now are cutting corners and not even including a base with the figure. To me, I like when it's included. All right, so let me set up this figure a little bit and do a side-by-side with the other one by DID, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna make a live decision on which one I'm gonna keep or what I'm gonna do. All right, so here's the side-by-side of both of them. And you could see by looking at the head sculpts alone, quite a difference. Now, obviously, the one on the right is the DID one. That is a little bit older looking, a little bit more detailed, but more importantly, better likeness of Roger Moore, I believe. This one just, it just comes short. Now notice the bangs as well. I believe the DID one on the right is more accurate to how his bangs looked in the film. The hair is a little bit more realistic, better sculpt and better paint job. One of the reasons I had bought the Big Chief Studios one was because of the holster. Now, if you look at this one, it's actually the final production piece. They cut corners from the photos, and it's actually less of a good quality than this one. As you can see, they go into a little bit more detail. They've got some metal parts in there as well. This one is strictly just a leather stitched piece, whereas this one's got quite a bit more going on to make it look authentic. One thing I noticed as well is the difference in size of shoe, side by side. It occurred to me in doing this side by side that his feet look way too small for the rest of him. And I'd say that the DID version, the shoes are slightly too big, so it's hard to say. However, you know, this one you've got the sculpted shoe, and this one you've got the laced shoe on the DID figure. Otherwise, the belts are pretty much the same. The belt's slightly better on the Big Chief Studios one. Shirts are nearly identical. The pants are a little better fitting with the Big Chief Studios one. I mentioned in my other video review of this figure that I didn't like how loose these pants were. So, final verdict on this. Well, let me give you my score on the Big Chief Studios one. I'm gonna give it a 7.8. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way that it's the holster's not the same as it was in the photos. They cut some corners there. The head sculpt, I mean, you could tell it's him, no doubt about it. But when you compare it to the other one, I had mentioned in the other video that the eyes were a little bit too beady for me, but I have to say it's still better than this one. I'm gonna have to make a final decision on which one I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna have to pull out some actual footage stills from the movie. But what I'm thinking at this point is I actually might just kit bash them to make one solid 100% good figure, and then put the other one on eBay as a custom. I know I'll lose a lot of money that way, but at least I'll have a good figure. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time.